That might be the winning move.
Hit your marks here.
Look at Newman dive off in the corner. He showed us at Phoenix last week he was capable of doing brave things with a lot on the line. 2 laps left to go. Might not be finished with caution, but what I'm seeing back in the back part of this. Boy, Newman's giving it all he's got right now. Watch him dive down into turn 3 after this 4-car. Coming to the white flag. 1 lap left to go in the season. We're on the last lap.
1 more now, 1 more.
If the caution comes out now, the race is over. Newman trying to stay with Harvick, trying to find a way around him. 2 more corners to go to a championship for Kevin Harvick. He's going to do it. He's going to win the race and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. California's Kevin Harvick does it.
Holy cow! You are the 2014 Sprint Cup champion. Great job, guys. This is unbelievable. What a year.
Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, your 2014 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion, Kevin Harvick. You did it, my friend. Congratulations. What's this moment like for you?
Well, you know, I just really don't even know what to say and how much I appreciate everybody on this Budweiser, Jimmy John's Outback team, Stewart Haas Racing, Gene Haas, Tony Stewart, for everything that they put into this team. That came down to a pit call, and I was like, man, we are in big trouble here. And Rodney Childers and all these guys that have put together these teams, just done an amazing job. But without Chevrolet and Hunt Brothers, Bad Boy Buggies, Mobile One, Bass Pro Shop.
Got to give that crew chief a hug. Rodney Childers, who made the call. Yeah. Oh, hey. As we get a shower of suds, take us through that last restart. You know what Ryan Newman would do. You know how much he wanted it. We saw it at Phoenix. What were you thinking?
I was just going to hold the pedal down and hope the best. I knew our car was...
There is his 2-year-old son, Keelan, and wife Delana. Let's go to the important stuff. You put your son Keelan in the car each week as your good luck charm before the race. What does it mean as a dad to share this championship with this young man?
Well, I'm just really excited. It's really special for everybody, and I'm glad you're awake. Are you happy to be awake? Can you say, I believe Daddy won? Say it. Really happy. Just been trying for 13 years, and just got to thank Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson for helping me through this week. Jimmy Johnson was in my trailer as much as any of my teammates, and calling me and on the phone and doing all the things that it takes to tell me what I needed to do today. But I just want to thank Sprint, the fans, every fan up there. We appreciate you coming today. This new format has been so stressful. The racing has been phenomenal. I'm going to sleep for a week.
Let me ask you about your car owners. You took a leap of faith this year, and your good buddy Tony Stewart said, if you come over here, I'll do everything I can to give you a car to win a championship. Talk about Tony and Gene Haas and this team they put together for you.
Well, they gave us all the resources that we need. They said, whatever you guys think you need, you go get. We never talked about money. We never talked about anything financial. It was just go get what you need to build a team. We built all brand new race cars, trucks, trailers, all new people. And this format really helped us build through the year. We had really fast cars, but it helped us build as a team. All the character building moments have led to this moment right here, and you know, to close that deal out at the end of that championship there was pretty awesome.
Welcome to NASCAST 500, the only NASCAR podcast as happy as not marrying Charles Manson. I'm Elizabeth Knox, and I'm joined by
Phil Matthew.
Alright, I'll stop this. Hey guys. Well, season's finally done and over with, and I gotta say, who's happy that Happy finally won a championship?
Me.
Yeah.
And you know, to finally see one of my favorite drivers finally win the championship after being screwed over in 2010 and last year, and that perfectly. These had these opportunities to win the championship, but that wonderful chase form that we had those years, he couldn't do it. But funny how he was with Childers for 13 years, he couldn't get it done in his first year, but it's trying to get it done. That's incredible. I'm not to commentate, but you know, I couldn't say it.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Harvick had the best car, or one of the best cars all year, and he had actually shown up at times. I mean, he didn't close as much as he has in previous years until the last 2 weeks of the season. And for Tony, me personally as a Tony fan, I'm glad for him, considering how brutal this year has been for him, both as a driver and personally, to bring his buddy over basically taking a risk, not really a risk because the fact that Nonek hadn't really done anything in the last few years, and getting Harvick was an upgrade and getting more sponsorship. But basically he put himself on the line saying, I'm going to get you a championship, and it happened. And for him to win this championship, it's big for SHR, and big for Tony in general, and also for Kevin. More gratuitous showing of Keelan for the next however many years. But good for the man. He showed up when it mattered most. It's something that hadn't happened before, and I honestly, of all the four, I was pretty sure it was either going to be him or Pizza Face, but Pizza Face didn't have a car ready to win the race, and it was Nonek that actually showed up when it mattered as well, the hardest he's driven since 2003. And Denny Hamlin, I think if the cautions they hadn't thrown so many cautions at the end of the race, I think it could have went Denny Hamlin's favor. But good for Harvick.
Yeah, we'll just go down the list. Happy, Nonek, Keselowski, Rich Boy, McMurray, Kenseth, Paperboy, Boyer, Fuck Turtle. We'll talk about him in a second. And Gordon.
Well, with this top 10, I'm really surprised. Two people in particular, Jamie McMurray, how he managed to finish third.
Which, by the way, McMurray is getting a new crew chief for next year, Matt McCall.
Yeah, I read that on sports, but unfortunately, then that came up on my feed, and I'm like, wow, really? That Keith Rod and McMurray are only together for a year, and he's already baseball. But yeah, seeing McMurray finish third is cool because I'm a McMurray fan. His team actually finished good is cool. One thing I'm really depressed about is seeing Daddy Baby Bug finishing fifth. You know, all the people I was expecting that top 10 Paul Menard would, because, I mean, here's a guy who, in this race last year, blew a tire on pit road and that car on fucking fire.
That was funny. That was funny.
Yeah, I just, like, the first thing I thought was, like, the first thing that heard in my head was rip the fire, Johnny Cash, and then a fucking gunshot, just like, once you saw the tire explode, you go, but, yeah, Team Menard finished fifth looked like I wasn't even paying attention to that, honestly. I was paying more attention to Harvick and Hamlin and Newman, and then trying to win the championship. After Logano fucked up on his pit stop, that was the funniest shit I've seen since Jarkin ran in like the whole entire summer. That was great, but it was definitely better than the last few home pit races I've seen. Last year, of course, that was a shit fest because of the fact that our favorite driver won the championship because no-brainer. And even the race 2 years ago, that was kind of a meh. But even Brad got to take home the championship. Ironically, on this day 2 years ago, but I think we saw just as great as a homestead race as we did in 2011 with Tony and Roy Graves were going for the championship. That was incredible.
Here's my question. Where the hell was Adolphe France? What cocktail party was more important than giving Harvick the championship?
Probably him getting a bunch of hookers and doing a shitload of cocaine. I don't know. But I'm just glad that it was somebody I liked that won the championship for the first time in 2 years. Because if Logano would have won the championship, I would have gone ape shit. I mean, I don't hate Penske. Penske's my favorite racing team. Come on now. But I can't stand Joey Logano. He's a fucking punk. He doesn't deserve to win the championship. He tries to act like he's a great driver, and if nobody thinks so, then I'll just wait till you see me race. I'll show you. And I love when Harvick tried to get in his head in the media earlier this week, and Logano was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I could see the look on his eyes like, holy shit, Harvick means business. I don't want to fuck with him. And I honestly thought earlier on Logano was going to have a shot at winning the championship because of how well he was running. Yeah, with that, if he didn't fuck up on that pit stop, I don't know what would have happened. He may have had a shot, but Harvick rallying from 12th to 1st on that the second to last caution to go from 12th to 1st, win the championship and win the race, and have him finish that close. It was incredible. I mean, I haven't seen a great homestead race in 3 years, so to see this one, it was good. And to see someone from my neck of the woods win the championship that wasn't named Johnson was great too.
Yeah, I mean, agree with Adam on the Menard finishing 4th and McMurray 5th. We were talking about it just before the show that I'd forgotten about that Keith Rodden, of course, he worked with Hendrick, and since Candy K needs a new crew chief, I guess he saw that as an upgrade. So he basically bailed after Sunday, and he's going back to Hendrick Motorsports to work with the 5 team. And since the great Kenny Francis is moving into a new role with Hendrick Motorsports, since nobody gives a fuck, Paul Menard actually finishing a race is great for his psyche. I guess he had to run well because another Daddy's Money guy was driving for RCR, and Brian Scott finished 28th and all. But for Harvick and Newman, that last restart was pretty intense, and that was actually the fact is they had to force what happened in 2011. That's all. This whole format. I mean, basically, if you were not a fan of one of those 4 drivers, you were asked out. Or Jeff Gordon, you were basically you're asked out for the whole entire day, which pissed me off personally. But then that's just how ESPN is, because they figured out a way to cover racing worse than fix sports, and that's the end of the road for them for a very long time in terms of stock car racing.
Yeah, because apparently I read in one of the articles that their ratings were so low. That's why NASCAR's like, bye bye. We're going to We're going to NBC now.
No, the ratings have sucked for years. It's just the fact that the amount of money it costs to cover the sport is outrageous compared to the return they're getting. And ESPN has a high value of themselves now, even though if it weren't for NASCAR racing and all these other motorsports, the channels wouldn't actually exist. ESPN2, and for a great example, really wouldn't have existed without motorsports. But whatever, they're going to show shitty basketball and shitty this sport or that sport or whatever now, and they won't kill.
I was actually watching Monday Night Football yesterday on the TMZN. Wasn't that great? Didn't like
Yeah, well, the fact is, it's two of the worst announcers in the whole entire, in all of broadcasting. So at least they're consistent. They have shitty broadcasters and announcers for all sports. Getting back to the race, I mean, you had a bunch of chasers. Clint Boyer actually ran well for once, which was shocking. Gordon had one of the best cars all day. He led the most laps, but didn't have anything to show for it at the end due to pitting late in the race, conveniently. I found that to be dubious at best. When he was running second, it probably could have beaten Kevin Harvick for the win. Honestly, Kyle Larson, Young Money winning, locking up Rookie of the Year. There's one of the articles that I would now talk about later on when we talk about some other stuff, about one of the jackasses that writes about this sport regularly. Justin Allgaier, 15th. Good run for him. Truex ran better than 17th. Tony Stewart's 16-year run, winning a race ended with him blowing up or hitting the fence. Nobody would have known. They didn't report it.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Where the hell was he?
They just basically reported, he went to the garage. That's the end of his win streak. I'm like, honest to God, I mean, it's a race. There's 43 cars on the racetrack. If you're going to cover only 4 cars, then let 4 cars race. I mean, what the hell is the point of having anybody else out there? Then it's basically winner take all. They all dump each other. Oh, what the hell is the difference? That pissed me off. But because if you weren't a fan of one of those 4 drivers, you were completely screwed. I give Brad credit. He tried to win that race there. He didn't really have a great car on Sunday, but he gave it a shot. And if Pizza Face had Brad's crew on Sunday, he might have actually had a chance. If he had Brad's car, too, he might have had a chance. But he never really was effective. It was really a 4 and 11 with 31 sneaking in there.
And you can thank his Jackman for that.
The fact is, they had bad pit stops. The 31 had a bad pit stop, a few pit stops before that. The fact that the Jack was they stayed, considering that they waited until the last race of the year to shit the bed in the pits, was amazing. And I also, and the irony of it all is Tony's pit crew, just like when he was the driver of the 20 car and then when he won his championship in 2011, they are shitty as hell, but when push comes to shove, they show up and close the deal. That's what they did. Harvick cried for all year about the pit crew, and then Tony gave up his pit crew for him. They kind of had issues earlier in the chase. They closed the deal when it mattered. And good on Harvick, and good for HR.
Alright, I am reading a Fix Sports article written by good old DW, and I'm going to read you a part of it since my eyes are bleeding right now. I'm a big fan of Irony, and Homestead to set the stage for a buttload of it, okay? You have Kevin Harvick, who drove for Rich Children's Racing 2013, competing for the championship against Ryan Newman, who drove for Stewart Howard Racing last year. See, that's irony right there. Wow, I didn't know that. Trust me when I tell you that there is definitely some one-upsmanship going on here. Both drivers wanted to show their old owners that they made the right decision in moving on. You have Darian Grubb, who won the championship as Tony Stewart's crew chief in 2011, now trying to win the championship with finalist Danny Hamlin. DW, 2015 will be the year of you going to a nursing home and getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Well, it's Darrell Waltrip. What can you say? I mean,
yeah.
If you forget his record in NASCAR, I mean, a lot of people, you know, I'm gonna be honest when I say this. Darrell Waltrip's a fucking dumbass. You know, he stutters a lot of the fucking time in the booth. He's like, and you know, well, the Waltrip brothers in general, they're both a bunch of fucking idiots. But when it comes right down to it, you know, you can't. Darrell Waltrip was a great NASCAR driver. Albeit he was a fucking idiot, but you know, he still got the job done. 3 championships, 84 wins, won all these big old races and shit. Drove for Junior Johnson, drove for himself, you know, drove for Nygaard. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that he's a fucking idiot. And this is nothing short of what I know from Darrell. He has kissed everybody when the time is right. He has kissed Johnson. He has kissed Kyle when Kyle first started driving for Gibbs. He's kissed Danica's ass so many fucking times. It's like she got fucking. It's like basically Darrell kissed Danica's ass so many times. It's just about to drive when he gave her a fucking good job. Like Jesus Christ. I mean, I can't even believe half the shit he said in his articles on Fox and just everywhere in general. It's just like Darrell saying, hey, look at me, I'm still somewhat relevant. No, you haven't been relevant in like 10 years, which I don't, man. I really love how Stewart ripped on him in 2004 at Richmond and just basically gave Darrell a big fuck you, and that was like one of the best things I've seen in my life, that someone said, hey, Darrell's a fucking idiot, they don't know what the hell they're talking about, or whatever. But, you know, just hearing that little tidbit just makes me think, wow, this is nothing surprising to me. And number one, it's a Fox Sports article. Number two, it's a Darrell article. So, of course, there's going to be major ass kissing involved there. And then you add to the fact that you add all three of those together, what do you get? You get a big old pile of shit. But, you know, I honestly don't know how much longer Darrell's going to be in the business before he gets put in a nursing home and people just forget about him. You know, he's 67, going on 68, and somehow he's still in the booth and hasn't been replaced yet, which is really fucking surprising. If they could just like revamp that whole booth, you know, keep Mike Joy in there, because I like Mike Joy, even though he's working for Fox, people don't like that he's working for Fox, but he was badass back in the day when he was working for TNA and CBS. But get rid of Darrell and fucking, you know,
Larry Mack.
Larry Mack, yeah. I was going to say, you know, Larry Mack's basically a pinhead. He looks like one, too.
Small-headed fool.
Yeah, exactly. And he's, you know, before I didn't have a problem with all three of them, but now I'm really starting to, I can't stand Larry Mack. Oh, look how this 18 car he's going around. Well, okay, can you, like, make it any more obvious, Larry Mack? Like, we're not fucking retarded, and if we are, can you, like, tell us why you're making it sound like we are? Like, goddamn. The whole Fox Sports thing in general is just a fucking joke. First of all, Fox Sports 1 is a fucking joke, and the fact that we have to deal with Fox Sports for 16 races next year, so we have to have 4 more races with these nut jobs. It's number one on the what the fuck list. Number two, we have Jamie Little coming over from ESPN, who's probably gonna fill in that dumbassery on the pit road that she had when she was on ESPN. Then you're gonna have to add on the fact that all we have is confirmed for next year is Matt Yoko, and Steve Burns is still out from his cancer. And Jeff Hammond got canned. Bob Dillner got canned. I forget who else got canned.
Dillner got canned?
No, Dillner got fired. I don't know about Hammond because I don't know. I mean, but in general, I don't know what. I mean, the fact is they brought Jamie Little over for the same reason. They have a bunch of blonde bimbos on big sports.
They need to fire Caitlin Vincey. She sucks.
Well, yeah, she got swallows loads. I mean, and she's like the Monica Lewinsky of Fox Sports. Honestly, her and that Trotta who's like a wannabe porn star.
I'm like, when I first started watching Cover years ago, and when she hosted, I'm like, why is Alexis Texas hosting a NASCAR show?
Oh man! Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, Alexis Texas is better looking and has a better ass, but that's beside the point. But with Fox, I mean, look, I've never been a fan. I've hated Fox. I hate Fox Sports in general. Anything they cover, they figure out a way to destroy it. That's happened with every sport. They destroyed hockey. They destroyed football. They destroyed NASCAR racing because of the three morons they have in the booth. That's really as much to do with it. And DW, I mean, there's this article you read, and then there was another article that he wrote about some nonsense where he talked about a picture of Kevin and Tony hugging, and he probably blew his wad because he loves two guys hugging, just like his little brother does. And it's like, stop with the nonsense. It's like, they should be, they're friends. And the fact is, he wanted him to come over here to Stewart Haas Racing and win a championship. And he did. What they can't hug? Like, considering the year that Tony is at, I mean, good grief, this is his life. His life is his race team. I mean, he's such a fruit. And Darryl doesn't know how to write. We know he's not writing the articles. Neither is Larry Mack or Hammond or any of these other idiots that they have on this announced group. They're just a hurt. They are an embarrassment to auto racing. The fixed sports team. They just waste our time and waste our energy. I mean, in general. And now that they're gonna have more races because of TNT's demise is just more pain for us as fans because they're awful, and they have nobody in the pits. They didn't want to replace Dr. Dick Bergeron, and now they have to replace Steve Burns, who's probably the only other guy who was a professional. I mean, yeah, Yoakum's all right, but he's starting to become old and done. And then you have fucking Mike Joy, who's got a Squire senility kicking in. He's more into doing Barrett Jackson. And then you have Larry McReynolds talking about four good years in Sunoco fuel. And I'm going to go and look at the weather, and I'm going to take the weather vane and shove it up my ass. And oh, my son, Brandon McReynolds, he's a driver in the Winston West, the K&N West Series for Bill McAnally in the Napa Auto Parts Toyota that Darryl Waltrip went and tried to go and do, and Michael goes and drives sometimes. Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, can you just, like, go and get hit by a defensive tackle? Can somebody from Auburn just hit that MF right in the head?
By the way, I watched the K&N West Series replay on Sunday morning. Some guy named, like, Nick Drake won that, but what...
That was the final race of the year, and he was driving for Bill McAnally's team. They're basically like Hendrick on the West Coast. They've had four first-time winners this year in Brandon McReynolds. I don't know if he did win the race, and he ran the whole season. Got it. But in general, I hate Fox Sports. I could... Basically, once we get back into the swing of things, we'll be able to do rants just out of me. I'll be able to rant on Larry McReynolds because he butchers the English language. He reminds me of people that I have to either counsel or work with in the writing center. So, oh well, that's my rant for this part of the show. So.
All right. Douche canoes in the news.
Shocking.
Chad was called in to holler after the race because apparently he put a wheel spacer on his wheel. So after that, Pemberton's like, oh, we're not going to find you. This is me.
Of course not.
This is me. This is a pen. This is my checkbook. This is me writing a check out to NASCAR. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's Chad G. What do you expect? They never get penalized. It's my boy Tim tagged me in that right as the race was going. And I'm like, ooh, Chad getting called in the holler. Wonder what this is about. And then then I kept reading. They haven't really reported as to why he has got come back to the holler. They haven't reported why he's come back to the holler. Blah blah blah. Then I finally read it, and it says Chad got called to the NASCAR holler because of an illegal spacer on Johnson's wheel. That's really not surprising. I mean, it's fucking Chad Canals. Of course it's not surprising. Look at what that fucking done over the years. I mean, look at 2000. I tell this to every Johnson fan or people that, they like Jimmy Johnson. They don't hate him and they don't love him, but they're kind of in the middle. And they're like, well, I don't know why you think Chad and Jimmy cheat. They don't cheat. Really? Okay. Well, let's see here. I can bring up all these valid points as to why they cheat. I tell this to every person that doesn't know about Jimmy and Chad and what they do. They've been caught cheating at least once every year since they've been in NASCAR. That's 2002, 2014. That's 12 years in the fucking sport, full time. They're not going part time when they ran the last 2 races or whatever, 2001 to now. Talking about 2002 full time to 2014 full time. 2006, Chad getting caught modifying the car before the show at Daytona, suspended for 6 races. Darian Grubb, ironically, gets the win with Jimmy at Daytona. Then you go the next year, both Gordon and Johnson get penalized 100 points at Sears Point, but magically, Johnson still wins the fucking championship. Then you go to 2012, Johnson gets caught with the illegal seat post at Daytona. Chad was supposed to get suspended for 6 races. And Jimmy was supposed to get docked, 50 points or something like that. And then right after California, they're like, it's okay, we're going to reduce the penalties and you're not getting suspended. What the fuck? And then add on this little tidbit. When at Talladega, in the April 2011 race, when they won, they had an in-car camera. And NASCAR Race Hub, they reported it. And Chad dumbass forgot that they had an in-car camera. And said, if you win this race, you gotta fuck up the back end of your car. I swear to fucking God, that's what they said. And so many people know that is true, and they've seen it. They know I'm not lying. I'm not making this shit up. That actually happened. And people to this day still believe that Jimmy and Chad don't cheat at all. It's a fucking, oh my God. And then reading this shit, and then I'm like, oh, an illegal wheel spacer. Oh, Chad's gonna get fucking reamed. Oh, and then, oh, what? They didn't get, what the fuck? They didn't get penalized. Well, I mean, and you know what? I really shouldn't be surprised because, number one, they're racing for Rick Hendrick. Of course, they're not going to get penalized. They're going to find some way to not get penalized. Rick has to either pay them the fine, blow somebody, or all three, and they magically get off. No pun intended. Or 4, they get penalized, and then they appeal it, quote unquote, and then they still get off anyways. But, you know, like I tell this to everybody, if this happened to a regular driver, this happened to, like, I don't know, somebody like Greg Biffle or Ryan Blaney, if he ran that race, Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr., Brian Vickers, the list can go on and on. They'll penalize them. Oh, but NASCAR's golden boy, the guy who won 6 championships, is oh so close to tying Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt's record of 7 championships. Oh, we can't penalize him or else it'll be bad publicity for Chad and Jimmy. Fuck off with that shit. I mean, look at even the 90s. No, they never played any favoritism to Dale Earnhardt, even though he won 7 championships and was a fucking man at restrictor plate tracks. They still looked at his car. If they found something on it, they penalized him, even if he was Dale Earnhardt. I mean, they played no favorites in the 90s, and that's because Bill Frames Jr. was running the show. If Bill Jr. was running the show now, if he still lived, I guarantee you this shit would be going on. He'd be fucking going right down in the middle of it and checking that shit out. But no, we have to get BZF in here, and he has to somehow ruin the sport with the chase. And Jimmy Johnson winning 5 straight championships. Oh, it's a fucking miracle. No one's ever done that. I wonder why no one's ever done that. Yeah, because there was no such thing as a rigged fucking point system to make it happen. I mean, Cale Yarborough won 3 championships 3 years in a row. Did people think that was rigged? No, that was just the old NASCAR point system in the 70s. They didn't rig it. Did they rig Richard Petty to get 200 wins? No, what the fuck? But they did rig this shit. And I'm just gonna come to this point where anytime I read an article about Chad and Jimmy and I hear the word penalizing or anything, I'm just not really gonna give a fuck because I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna investigate it, quote unquote. They're gonna make big ass news about it, and then Chad's not gonna get penalized. And then get this shit. His name was the #1 trending on fucking Twitter, but where was Harvick? Nowhere to be fucking found, like at all.
It was also trending on Facebook, which pissed me off because
yeah,
it was like overshadowing his win. It's like Jimmy's more important than freaking Harvick. Like, seriously? Come on.
Yeah, and all the people that do that shit are fucking Kool-Aid drinkers, and people who support Johnson are just going ape shit over this shit. But I'm just gonna end this rant by saying I'm not surprised that Jimmy didn't get penalized or Chad didn't get penalized because, well, I mean, I already stated they're driving for Rick Hendrick. They're not gonna get penalized. I mean, if you're Jeff Gordon, you're gonna get penalized. If you're Casey Kane or Dale Jr., you're gonna get penalized. But if your name's Jimmy Johnson or Chad Knaus, you're basically getting out scot-free of whatever happened. You can commit murder on any of the other teams, and somehow Rick Hendrick will find a way to make sure they don't go to prison. So, fuck Chad. I hope Conrad bites him in the ass next year, him and Jimmy, and they get fucking, that they just finish even shittier than 11th than they did this year. So, fuck the 48. I'm done.
I mean, when I heard that they broke a prime directive, I was curious as to what the prime directive was, and given Chad's history, I'm not shocked that there's no way that he could get through a year without getting nailed for something. Obviously, as Adam has spoken about over the entirety of this program, this show and many shows, his history precedes him, and frankly, it's like whatever. The guy's 11th in points, so why does it matter? Kevin Harvick won the championship. It was actually a pretty interesting final few laps of that race. It was the end of ESPN. There's a bunch of other stories that should be up there before the 48 going and cheating and not listening to NASCAR, getting away with it, and they still didn't even win the race. That was part of the fun. Legitimate reason because they had their great pit crew figured out a way to strip the threads off of one of the lug studs, so he needed a spacer so the wheel wouldn't fall off. Frankly, I think NASCAR was like, why don't you just let the wheel fall off? You hit the wall, you make a lot of fans happy, and you go and cause another caution, because that's what NASCAR wants anyway. Instead, Chad was like, no, I want to finish this race. I'm not going to listen to you, because I don't have to. And he ends up doing what he did. NASCAR gets their panties in a bunch, even though it doesn't make a difference in the long run. But whatever, as Adam said before, and it's true now, if it was any other crew chief, it would have been a major issue. Because it's Canals, gets swept under the rug. I figure Richard and his whole entire group are going to have more heat.
There was news about them, but we're not going to go there.
They're not passing the inspection. I think that they're going to get more heat than the 48 for not even listening to what NASCAR told them, which is bullshit. But hey, when you have the fat felon as your owner, things work out that way.
Okay. We got Kyle Larson news. Congratulations to him for being Rookie of the Year. I was thinking it was going to be Austin because his grandpappy, but no, because Kyle Larson has better finishes than Austin. What the hell? What the? All right. Jeff Gluck, the idiot.
Oh yeah, here we go. That's the
Yeah, let me
article.
just, give me 1 sec. He's like, why
Yeah,
was I wrong about rookie Kyle Larson? That's...
Can I just go because there's no point in reading that
Yeah, I'm not
guy's
gonna read it.
work.
I don't plan. I just skimmed through it, but yeah.
Because first of all, he's a piece of shit. He's one of the worst writers in the history of writing, let alone the fact that he's a Kool-Aid drinking butt fucker like Dave Moody and all these other guys who make money spewing the nonsense of BZF, Ron Jeremy, and Peter Griffin. He's a fucking moron. Him, Jenna Fryer, and Bob Pockrass are an embarrassment to life, let alone journalism. And why am I wrong about Kyle Larson? It's like, you fucking idiot. Because you drink the Kool-Aid and believe Austin Dillon's really a great driver, oh, I'm going to pick Austin Dillon. The fact is, Kyle Larson has more talent in his pinky than one of his pinkies than Austin Dillon has in his whole entire body. You could have put Kyle Larson in a radio flyer wagon, and he could have probably beat Austin Dillon at times this year. That's how good of a driver he is. He's the closest thing to Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon combined. He is Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon combined. The crew chief changed for the one, notwithstanding, he's got Shine Heroi with him. That combination is just going to grow and get better. It's a learning experience. He finished under the regular point system. Under a regular point system, he would have finished in the top 10 in points as a rookie, which would have only put him behind Smoke, Jimmy Johnson. He would have been the third best rookie finisher under a legitimate system. He finished 17th. Who cares? He was competitive most of the year. It's great to see Young Money win. I had questions. He struggled early, the first month or so of the season. So I was kind of worried about how it was going to go, and then he kind of hit a switch in April and basically carried that through. Only a couple of tough runs during the summer were the only reason why he wasn't in the chase. And the scary part is if he had made the chase, he would have been a factor as a rookie. Because I know Chris Heroi wouldn't have had any problems taking risks, the same way as Luke Lambert didn't with Newman. So Jeff Gluck sucks cock, and he basically should die, and nobody would really care. But the fact is, he's awful. He can't write, and from a journalist, he's an embarrassment to me as a journalist. Pockrass and Jenna Fryer, who spends more time on her knees than she does actually writing anything of value. But those three are just horrible. And Gluck, oh, why am I wrong? It's like, you shouldn't be. Why would you go and say that Kyle Larson wasn't ready for the series? He can drive anything. He can drive anything, but you don't know because you're a moron who only watches NASCAR racing. You never watched him drive a USAC midget sprint or Silver Crown car. You never watched him drive a winged sprint car. You never watched him in the nation. Obviously, didn't pay attention to some of his work in the Nationwide series. The fact that Chip Ganassi hurries rookies up is his regular MO. The difference is, for the first time ever, out of about 5 shots, he actually hit. The fact is, it was no way he was going to fail though, because of how good Kyle Larson is. You could have watched a Rolex 24 when he's never driven a prototype sports car before, jumped in that car, and he was right on pace. That should tell you all you need to know about how good of a guy he is, and tell you how dumb the NASCAR media truly is.
One more thing. NASCAR has definitely suspended a crew member for violating the sanctions body substance abuse policy. On Tuesday, NASCAR announced that they have indefinitely suspended a crew member for violating the sanctioned body substance abuse policy. The individual, Kelly Johnson, I have no idea who that person is, was a crew member in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Don't know which team, don't care. On November 7th, Kelly Johnson was to have violated sections 2.1 blah 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 and 19 blah 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 of the 2014 rulebook. All right, please tell me, can I just see the rulebook? Seriously?
Yeah, that's a problem with the sport in general, that they had this rule book made out of crayon, and then they don't want to show it to anybody or give it to anybody or post it. I think a good sport or series could actually have their rules listed for everyone to see. NASCAR obviously changes the rules accordingly for whatever team it fits, so they can't do that. But the substance abuse policy is dubious at best. They only nail lower level crew members and like Jeremy Mayfield, which doesn't count for anything.
Did you see the beam from last year's the big book of restarts? I want to see as well.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of stuff that NASCAR seems to hide in Daytona along with BZF's stash of the wars, but at the end of the day, they want transparency, they want people to respect the sport, but as the years go on and as long as BZF continues to run it, it's going to be hard for them to ever get any true respect from any real fan.
Okay, now we're going to forward EcoBoost 300. Another spring curb benefit. We'll down list. Kansas, Bush, Larson, Blaney, Busher, Smith, Dillon, Kozlowski, Sadler, and Scott. But I did enjoy the Chase's presentation at the championship.
That was the only saving grace of the Nature race. I mean, the Nature race was a fucking dud. I barely watched any of it. I mean, I watched the first 50 laps, had the race on in the background, played fucking Xbox. That was more entertaining than watching the last nationwide race under the nationwide banner. Hard to believe that this is the last race that we're going to call it nationwide. I'm going to have to start getting used to calling Xfinity next year. But, I mean, it's what 6 years can do. I mean, 6 years ago, the first nationwide race, boring. Every race up to now, boring. I mean, what do you expect? It's another cup benefit. It's like it's always going to be. That's never going to change even next year when Nationwide hands over the keys over to Xfinity for the series title rights. I mean, fuck. I knew it was going to be another cup benefit. I just didn't think it would be Kansas. I honestly thought it was Brad or Cryle, but that didn't happen. In any event, if the cup driver would have to win, I would rather prefer to be guys I like. Kansas, one of them. He's not one of those guys who wins every fucking week like Brad and Kyle. So it's good to see someone else win. Win that. And interesting to note that the last nationwide race was won by the 20 car for Joe Gibbs, just like the first ever nationwide race was won by the 20 car for JGR. Stewart won at Daytona, and then Kansas won on Saturday. So that's a little bit of interesting history. But in any event, the nationwide race was dog shit. I mean, what do you expect this nationwide? Even if they put rockets on the cars, made them go faster, I guarantee it would still be fucking boring. But to see Chase Elliott be officially crowned the champion was cool. Youngest champion ever in the series to win the championship. Glad to know that someone I like wins this championship and is deserving of it. Unlike Austin Dillon, who was basically handed the championship last year, which was a little horse shit because of the cautions and how they played out. I still believe that Sam Hornish deserved that championship. The NASCAR basically fucked Hornish out of the championship and played the benefit to Hornish, played the benefit to Silver Spoons and Pop. I have no disrespect against Richard Childress. He's one of my favorite owners, but that doesn't take away from the fact that his grandsons are fucking douchebags, and one of them has no respect for any of his other drivers. He tried to wreck AJ Allmendinger at Darlington in an ECR-funded car with engines in them and was racing them like shit. That just shows you what kind of a person Austin Dillon is. Most people are like, that kid Dillon's so cool. No, he's not. He's a fucking douchebag. He can't race for shit. I mean, look at what he did in his last year nationwide. didn't win the championship. I mean, won the championship, no wins. And then comes into Nationwide, gets handed the keys to the famous number, one of the famous numbers in the sport that's been retired for 13 years, wins the full of Daytona, and that's it. Like really. What else can people say about Austin Dillon that is any good? Nothing. But in any event, the Nationwide race was shit. It's nothing short of my expectations. Expected a Cup driver to win, expected it to be Brad or Kyle. Really thought it'd be Kyle because he had a great, quote-unquote, great weekend winning the Truck Series Owners Championship. Bubba Wallace went to victory lane, which we'll get into that later. But, to see him not win is cool, and they didn't even interview him, which was even better. Seeing Kent's win was cool. Case officially being crowned Nationwide titleist. The final Nationwide champion, I might add, was cool too. But in any event, glad the Nationwide tenure is over. Maybe we'll actually start seeing some real racing when Xfinity takes over in 2015.
Yeah, I mean, for the Nationwide race, I miss portions of it for my own regular routine on Saturdays. I give credit to Chris Buescher getting a top 5 finish. He had a fast car at the end of the race. 3 Cup guys and Ryan Blaney. Every time he jumps into a Nationwide car, he's been fast all year. I don't know what discount tire they just announced today that they're re-upping with Penske 24 races for next year. I wish they would have also announced at that point that Ryan Blaney is running a full-time schedule. It's the same thing for Bubba. They still haven't announced plans for him, which is crazy to me. Yeah, the 2 best friends, 2 of the best young drivers in the sport, neither of them have definite plans, and the season's over. I find that to be dubious because they're both really good. And I think both of them could compete next year with the proper funding, proper situation. Look, the fact is Ryan Blaney's the next guy on the list. Penske is bringing him along slowly. I figure he's going to run Nationwide next year. It's just how much he's going to do because they already have BKR already has Tyler Reddick there. I think he's going to take over one of those trucks full time. Probably just run the 19 full time. They'll switch the points around, and Brad will run the family number with another driver. Probably Ryan Blaney and a couple other guys, Pizza Face, and then with Bubba, they've already announced with with Kyle Busch's team that they have Justin Boston, the ARCA driver, coming full time next year with Eric Jones, which they haven't announced his full package yet either. And Matt Tift, the protege of Ken Schrader, is going to run a limited schedule with Daniel Suarez and the Mosquito in the 51 truck next year. So they have a full house there, and Kyle mentioned that basically he's not going far, but he's still going to be around. So I figure that means JGR. The rumor is that he's going to run a limited schedule, and I find that to be a bummer for Bubba. No pun. That he's ran so well this year. He was a championship contender right down to the bitter end, basically until 2 races to go, and he doesn't have a full-time ride. In terms of for that, and that's 3 guys right there that could contend with Chase next year for the championship. Outside of that, I give props to Jeremy Clemens finishing 13th with his independent team at the end of the year. They went for it all, got a top 15 out of it. Ross Chastain, driving for TriStar Motorsports, got a 14th place finish on a car that usually start in parks. And then the 2 LDJR or J, whatever the hell that team is, the 28 and the 93 finished 15th and 16th. So give props to those guys. Yeah, it was a cup benefit. Larson led the most laps both Friday and Saturday, had nothing to show for it. Matt Kenseth leaves the season with 1 win in any series after having such a prolific year in 2013. Only had 1 win in any major NASCAR series. Kind of a come down. We'll see how they respond in 15. Busch not winning is great. Keselowski started on pole, won the Owners' Championship for the captain, but really wasn't a factor in the race. So on to 2015 and Xfinity.
All right, we'll go to the 200. An okay race, nothing special. Wallace Jr. Oh, I forgot one thing. Rex Townley needs to get out of both series. He was just awful.
Well, he hits everything. He hits walls regularly. That's just part of the fun. It's a drinking game. If you're a drinker, if you don't drink, you can go and drink apple juice. But it's just 2 shots of apple juice. When will John Rex Townley, 2 vehicle Townley, hit the wall? In the truck race, it was lap 6. In the nationwide race, he hit it multiple times. The fact is, he's part of the sideshow entertainment that has become NASCAR racing, because he's a circus clown.
Okay, let's go to 200 anyway. Wallace Jr., Larson, Peters, Busch, Blaney, Reddick, Dillon, Nemechek, Crafton, and Sauter. And congrats to Matt Crafton for winning his 2nd title. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for Matt Crafton, another driver from California, doing us Cali race fans proud. But I really wanted Ryan Blaney to do it, but I figured that unless Crafton blew up or some bullshit, which I really didn't see happening, that Blaney could have a shot at it. But Blaney gave it his best. He did all right. He started on the front row, finished all right, but just couldn't get a hold of Crafton. I'm proud of Crafton for what he did. Won 2 races only that entire year, still managed to win the championship. He's from my neck of the woods. He's from Central California or wherever, but when you're a California race fan and you hear someone from your neck of the woods wins the championship, if he's not a raging douchebag named Jimmy Johnson, you got to be happy for him. Haven't had anybody from my neck of the woods win 2 championships in two consecutive races in that weekend that weren't Johnson. So, real proud of Bubba for winning in the last race of the season, capping off a 4-win season, winning at Eldora, winning at Gateway, and then winning the final race at Homestead, which is the icing on the cake for a great season. I forgot he won national too.
The Wendell Scott truck.
Totally forgot all that. But to see him win 4 races, finish, go right in the points, get the last win of the season, it's just incredible. And hopefully they announce he's going to be in Xfinity, hopefully full time to replace Elliott Southern in the 11. But the race itself was just a fucking bore fest. I mean, I really didn't watch much of it. I watched the first 100 laps or so, came back to it, watched Crafton win the championship, watched Bubba win the race. In any event, it really wasn't that much. It wasn't that exciting. I mean, kind of the same with the truck race last week at Phoenix. I didn't watch much of that either. It was a bore fest. I mean, as much as I like Eric Jones winning at Phoenix, the race itself was just a shit fest. Crowded around the fact that, with the whole light fixture bullshit a week ago, that fucked up basically the entire race. Pretty sure that even if the race didn't have that bullshit problem, that Eric Jones still would have won, but I digress. Truck race was so-so, about 4.5 out of 10. Definitely better than the last few truck races I've seen. So it definitely makes up for Texas for Bubba blowing up and having his bug-eyed Pee Wee Herman-looking owner winning in Texas. This makes it just a little bit better. And adding on John Rex Townley, I mean, the dude can't drive. We knew that. We knew that in 2009 when he first started racing in NASCAR, when people actually started noticing him around the racetrack. And unless, if it wasn't for Zaxby sponsoring him, he would have been out of NASCAR a long time ago, which would have been a good thing because we wouldn't have to see a bunch of cars getting wrecked in the process. But, you know, that's just typical of John West County. You know, you can't last more than 10 laps in the race without having to hit something. I mean, you look at last week at Phoenix, he didn't even last the first turn of the first lap and he's already fucking wrecked his truck. And not even in the first 10 laps at Homestead, he's already fucking done. Not really surprising because John West County's a fucking idiot, doesn't know how to drive. You know, I'll borrow a phrase from our buddy David, you can't drive a stick up a dog's ass.
Yep.
I mean, he's fucking Christ. He's terrible. I mean, there's nothing good to say about John West County. He's sponsored by a chicken company that's, you know, trying to be... His dad's chicken company that's trying to be like KFC, but, you know, not even getting near as close as that many views. Then you got to the fact that he's been in so many different teams for different people and still can't make it work. He drove for Richard Childress and Nationwide and still can make that work.
Got fired in 3 races.
Oh yeah. I thought he ran like a full season, but I forgot. But still, he ran for Childress. And it wasn't even bad equipment either, and still finished like shit. But I mean, that's not surprising though. It's John Rex Townley. I mean, the guy can't race worth the shit. Hopefully next year he'll just go back to ARCA and stay there, and then just wreck cars there because really, who else besides Mason Mitchell and all these other and some of the other ARCA people are going to be in NASCAR next year. Half the people that are in the field in ARCA won't be in NASCAR next year. So why does John West County just go back to ARCA, wreck his car, wreck a bunch of other cars, and just, you know, leave people who can drive out of it? You know, fucking Christ.
Yeah, I mean, Bubba's one of my guys. I like watching him win anything. He's a cool dude. He was really emotional on Friday for a lot of reasons. I think somebody had passed away, but then also I think it was the end of Kyle Busch Motorsports. There was a lot of things there, and he had a great truck. Young Money had the best truck, but in the end, Bubba closed the deal. The shame of it all is he blows up at Texas. Same as Johnny Sauter blew up at Talladega. Those two guys blowing up made it a lot easier on Crafton to lock up the title. That's about as conservative as Matt Crafton's ever driven in his career, I think, and he just basically rode 3/4 throttle and finished 9th and won the championship. Winning back-to-back championships, considering the 3 people who basically built the truck series, Skinner's, Hornaday, and Sprague, none of them won back-to-back titles. So for Crafton getting into that, you know, realm, that's pretty big. Winning 2 races this year, considering that Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, I think, won 10 between the two of them, driving that 51 car or 51 truck. That's pretty good for Matt Crafton, and it took a long time for him to win, and for him to end up, you know, now becoming not only a winner but a champion is good for the series. They show his daughter, and I become mush, but that's beside the point because of the whole baby thing. But outside of that, I mean, good for him. Ryan Blaney getting a top 5 to finish the season. He never really had a truck that could win. He was definitely bummed after the race. But they blew the championship chance long before that. That'll be the end of the road for him at BKR, driving full-time at least, I figure. And props to Daniel Heinrich, super late model driver, for finishing 12th in that 20 truck for NTS. Ross Chastain was driving the 35 truck, formerly driven by Mason Mingus in the watermelon truck. The watermelon truck, he finished 11th. Herman Quiroga didn't hit a wall, so he deserves a round of applause from nobody. Mason Mitchell, the ARCA Series champion, I think he made his debut on Friday night, did well. There's a tie in points between Tyler Reddick and Ben Kennedy for Rookie of the Year, but conveniently, since he's the grandson of Bill France Jr., Ben Kennedy wins Rookie of the Year, even though he was absolute trash for the last 2 months of the season. But 2-3 months of the season.
Oh, I forgot to. Who won? Who's the nationwide Rookie of the Year?
It was Chase Elliott because he won the champion.
But I think Ryan Blaney was the most popular Champion World driver. I think.
No, that's probably him or Bubba probably. But Chase swept all the awards. He won the Drivers' Championship. They won the Rookie of the Year, and then of course, just like his father, the most popular. So
I think I know who's going to be Spring Cup popular driver of the year. Yeah. Alright, I just added Nate on Skype. Do you want me to do you want him to join us or no?
Yeah, because we're
Alright,
doing
I'm gonna add him to the call if he wants to join. Yeah. I have to call.
Nobody else came in, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Nate, are you there? Okay, why is it not? Okay. Add to call. Okay, it's not adding, so that's his loss. It's not. He's not on, or he's gonna have a Skype. He's just adding me on Skype, but the thing is, it's not letting me add the call. So, wait a minute. Let me try this. Add people. Nate. Okay, I think I can add. Let me try this. Okay, that didn't work. So we'll just go to the best. We'll just read off the best and the worst. What the fans say. All right. Okay, Derek says best. AJ winning the Glen. Worst. The new chase format. Guys, best. Patrick says best. Danica Crafton at 10. Worst. Tony's accident. Patrick, you're definitely a Kool-Aid drinker. Sheridan goes best. Jeff Gordon's fifth Brickyard win. Worst. Brian Francis' bullshit. Scott says best. The whole HMS team knocked out of the chase for chumps. Worst. I agree with Sheridan. Brian Francis' bullshit. Tom says best. Junior's four wins. AJ winning at the Glen. Almirola winning at the Daytona in number 43. Worst. All of Jerkoff Johnson's wins, especially his Dover win because I was actually at the race. Kyle Busch winning Fontana. Brian Jerkoff asshole scumbag France, somehow still in charge of NASCAR. You guys can be more than welcome to comment.
Yeah, so in terms of the best, some of them have the Kool-Aid spin on it. For me, I think I put down the first. It's always great to see a first-time winner in any series, especially in Cup with AJ Allmendinger after all he's went through. Considering how good of a driver he really is, for him to actually win in Cup and make the chase, and frankly should have made the second round, but had a brutal Dover screw him out of that. And Eric Almirola bringing the 43 back to victory lane on July 4th weekend at Daytona was great. Also chased the emergence of the young guns in both nationwide and trucks, with Chase Elliott winning at Texas and Darlington in back-to-back weeks. And, some of the Chris Buescher, and then in trucks with Blaney and Bubba Wallace, who had one last year, but asserting themselves as factors in the sport for a long time. That's the best. The worst is the Three Stooges that run the sport, and the Three Stooges, or the Five Stooges that are on fixed sports telecasts for me. And then also I'll give an honorable mention to basically the whole entire ESPN group for the way they completely mangled the end of the season with the way they presented the chase and in general.
Okay, Michael says, let me start with this. Best moment, Johnson and Kyle being eliminated from the chase at Talladega. Worst moment, when the changes to this year's chase were announced. Darian says, no, that's Darian saying anything. Cynthia says the worst, when Danica led those sad laps. She doesn't remember which track. I think it was Atlanta, I'm not sure.
Kansas.
Oh, Kansas, thank you. We had to hear about that for a whole week. The best, when AJ won at Watkins Glen, and I'm not a fan, but great finish. Okay, you said. Yeah, what are you gonna say, Adam?
I was gonna say that going on what Bill said with the whole best and worst thing on my note. The whole first-time winners with Allmendinger at Watkins Glen and Amarola at Daytona. That's always good to see it. The only thing I didn't like about Amarola's win was that it was rain short, and I hate rain short races.
That was. I said this in the Daytona episode. That was a pathetic abomination of a race.
Yeah, I mean, that whole weekend was a shit fest anyway. I didn't even watch Nationwide, and I fucking fell asleep before the Cup race even started, so, anyways, it's glad to see Amarola win, but I just wish it was actually, finished under green flag conditions. But, see Allmendinger winning at Watkins Glen, beating Marcus Ambrose, and what would have been a winner win and get in for Ambrose, and could have stayed in the 9 team in 2015 if he had won, or lose the race and be out of the 9, and obviously we know the answer to that one. This season wasn't the worst, and it wasn't the best, but, we did have a lot of races that were complete shitfests. I mean, of course, you got Johnson's wins, and then Kyle, of course, raping at Fontana again. I'm glad I didn't go to either of the last 2 races. I watched the first 10 laps at ACS last year, and then went home and didn't even bother watching the last 100 laps or whatever. And I watched the last 3 and watched Kyle win after Logano drove Hamlin into the fucking wall, and that pissed me off. And then I didn't even watch the race at all this year. I didn't fucking care because I already knew Kyle was going to win. I had something in the back of my head that said Kyle was going to win, so I didn't even watch, and I didn't. Then the Johnson wins. Most of them I didn't even watch. I didn't watch Dover, which was good. I barely watched Michigan. I didn't watch, I watched a little bit of Charlotte, but Charlotte was a shit mess, so I didn't even fucking care. As for Texas, I didn't even watch the first 120 laps and then watch the rest of it, and then all that build-up to see that cheap piece of shit win was just a waste of my fucking time. So my best would probably be Allmendinger and Amarola's wins, plus the fact that Jimmy and Kryle got eliminated from the chase after Talladega.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, Johnson wins, and that win doesn't even fucking matter going into the chase, because if he didn't get eliminated, probably would have had a chance at the championship. I probably would have won, but I digress. And also part of the worst is just the Nationwide Series, how bad it was this year with Kryle dominating basically every race that he's in. Same with trucks, how he just, anytime he's in a truck, he wins. It's just not even watchable. And then also back on the ESPN thing about how they didn't even fucking care. My friend Jonathan, he posted about it on Facebook right after the last Cup race, and he's like, no sappy tributes, no our goodbyes, just right up into the sunset. I'm like, yeah, I really didn't expect much coming from the ESPN now. They would have, I really would have expected to say, showed something, but, whatever. Then the best would be the AJ winning at Daytona. AJ winning at Watkins Glen, Amarola winning at Daytona, Johnson Kyle getting eliminated from the chase, Gordon winning 4 races in 2014, and having a legit shot at the drive for 5. That was great to see. Also to see Harvick winning the championship, that was probably like the best moment, other than Kyle and Jimmy getting eliminated to me. Worst was Kyle's win at Montana, Jimmy's wins altogether, the or should I say the Kyle Busch series and the Kyle Busch 2 series, which is trucks. Those were just the worst. But hopefully we won't see this type of shit in 2015. Hopefully it'll be like shades of 2011, where we'll actually see great races, and we won't see the 48 victory lane, but short the 18.
Okay, Darling Philip says, best moment was anytime the 48 hit the wall, along with the 18, 48, 88 getting eliminated at Talladega. Talladega. Best moment was the first time winners this year. Michael says, best was seeing Brad K get punched, and worst was Brad crashing Jeff. Mary Kay goes, seeing Jeff Gordon for the hypocritical crybaby he really is, and I love AJ winning at Watkins Glen. Michael goes, another worst moment when it was announced that Ambrose was leaving NASCAR and going back to the race in Australia. Sorry, but I happen to like the guy a lot. Yeah, I do too. It's really sad. But he will do great in Australia. Eric goes, best moment would be Gordon not being knocked out of the final rounds, thus ensued a non-HMS driver as champ. Michael again goes, yes, yet another worst moment when it was announced that the TV ratings were up for Phoenix Chase race, ensuring more WWE-style behavior on the part of the drivers and crew members, all with a silent approval of the cement heads. Tom goes, best moments for me, Junior winning the Daytona 500, Junior sweeping the pole, Pocono, Junior winning Martinsville, AJ Allmen's first Cup win at Watkins Glen, Eric Almirola's first Cup win at Daytona July. Eric goes, another best moment happens this Sunday when ESPN is done and we don't have to hear another Alex Bestwick anymore. Yeah, that I agree with. Ron goes, number one worst has to be the Toya Stewart incident. Although not at a NASCAR track, it seems to affect the whole racing community. Tommy goes, best was Biffle taking out Gunnar and Johnson. Worst was any race team fell in one. Catherine goes, best moments were provided for me at outdoor truck race. Kyle Larson giving it all he had, but Bubba Wallace with the surprise win. Worst moment, BS Debris caution blatantly timed to help Danica Patrick retain the lead lap. Okay, Patrick goes, best of 2014, Kyle Larson's success, worst of 2014, NASCAR manipulated races, phony debris caution, and trying to help their favorites. Another worst of 2014, the media is assuming Tony Stewart was guilty in an accident involving Kevin Moore Jr. and acting as a self-appointed racing experts and bringing in more phony experts, quote-unquote. Steve goes, many worst moments here too. One that stands out for me, the announcement of reducing horsepower in the cars for 2015. What the fuck is France doing? When talk of this started, many drivers thought it was a bad idea. But he went and did it anyway. Basically, the worst of 2014 is France tinkering of our sport. Okay, Nick goes, best part about it was the chase. The worst was the whole Stewart situation. Kaboom goes, Hendrick's cars out is the best. Logano, not Brad, is is the worst. Steven goes, worst Brad being in NASCAR, good the chase. Tom goes, good the chase and a first time champion, worst Stewart mess. For me, the best was Brad's 6 wins, AJ and Eric's 4 wins, and anytime Fuckchard hit the wall. Worst. Oh yeah, one more thing. The best is this podcast. Me starting the podcast, which I don't know. I just saying because somebody had to start one. Worst. Me torture myself watching Fruit Roll Up dance on Dancing with the Morons. Jimmy winning a race. The chase. Kyle Busch dominating both this Crafton World and Nationwide, and the Tony Stewart tragedy. So. Oh, I know one more thing before we do our plugs. I just found this video like 2 minutes ago. I'm going to play it for you, and I want you guys to react.
Oh, you're right.
Kidding me? Oh, please don't tell me it's not gonna play.
Listen, hey, Brad Keselowski, this is a warning to you. You leave my man Jeff Gordon alone. He's a personal friend of mine. And don't make me come to a NASCAR race and open up a can of whoop ass on you. Jeff Gordon is a personal friend of mine. Tony Stewart is a personal friend of mine.
Right, Barkley, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares.
First of all,
race and open up a can of
I can't talk without feeling like a
mine.
and
And
Tony
so
Stewart.
is Tony
You hear me?
Stewart. We both go to the Golden Corral together, and we go and buy some ribs and buy some filet mignon. I don't know if they have filet mignon at the Golden Corral, but I buy whatever the closest thing is to that, and we go, and they're personal friends of mine, and they're part of my T-Mobile Fave
Oh
5.
my God.
They're part of my 5.
Oh my
You
god.
gotta get Brad Keselowski. You better go and leave him alone. Like, I will go and take my fat ass and shove it right up in your whole face. Oh, like that. Like, come on, Chuck. Like, really, like, he talks nonsense. The greatest thing about Chuck is he has no filter. He would be better. He would be a better NASCAR broadcaster than most of the idiots they have covering NASCAR. Because he would say stuff that would make no sense, and it'd be hilarious though. You know, like, first of all, I don't know why that guy's driving around the racetrack. Like, he doesn't know what he's even doing. That John Rex Townley, he looks like a horse. Like, why in the world, why on God's name does that guy have to drive around on the racetrack like that and hit the wall? He hits the wall. Like, I want to shoot him. Like, okay, so I'm going into the Frank Endo impression, but oh man, Chuck, who knew that he actually cared that much about that?
It just popped on my feed just when we were talking about the best and worst. I'm like, oh, we gotta discuss this. So he seriously, I have nothing against Charles Barkley, but that guy needs to learn how to speak proper English.
Well, he should tell his Alabama brother, Larry Mack, that first.
Oh.
Good Christ, that was just hilarious. I mean, I saw that on my feed earlier about a couple hours ago, and I'm like, there's no fucking way this guy can be serious. Like, you're actually gonna fucking go to Brad's house and beat the shit out of him if he messes with Gordon or Stewart? Give me a fucking break. Like, honestly, do you even know who Brad Keselowski looks like? Unless if you had to Google image his face, if you didn't see it in the news or whatever, if you just heard it from someone else, you didn't see videos or races or anything. Like, really?
What Google is, so.
Yeah, I know, he's a fucking idiot. I mean, I watched the video before, and I'm like, this guy's a fucking idiot. You know, I know who Charles Barkley is. I knew him way before this point, and I'm like, whatever. Don't know who the fuck he is. Don't really fucking care. And then I watched the video. I'm like, oh, wow, this guy's a fucking idiot. I mean,
okay, how many NBA championships does Charles Barkley have? None.
Yeah, I mean, he can't even fucking like I didn't even know that up until this point. But if he's telling Brad to leave Stewart and Gordon alone, I mean, like really, if Brad's gonna listen to a fucking washed up NBA player, like, give me a fucking break. They're not even in the same fucking quadrant when it comes to sports. basketball is a completely different sport as opposed to NASCAR. Charles Barkley probably doesn't even know what the hell NASCAR even means. Like, he's like, well, what's NASCAR stand for as an acronym? Does it stand for as National Average? He'd probably give up after trying to get what the word A in the first part of NASCAR means. Like he strikes me as that kind of stupid person. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But I watched the video. I thought it was funny, and I thought it was stupid at the same time because this guy's just talking out of his ass like he's gonna open a can of whoop ass. Yeah, right. Oh, we're supposed to be like, Brad's supposed to be scared because you're a quote unquote former NBA player, not a washed up NBA player like most people know you as, threatening Brad because he messed with Gordon and no, like this sounds like Charles Barkley didn't even fucking watch the video. We just heard it, what happened, and he's like, "Oh, Brad must have done this. Well, I'm gonna make a video saying if he doesn't leave him alone, I'm gonna go ape shit on him." Like, you're a fucking idiot. You embarrass yourself. Like, knock the fuck off.
I mean, the fact is, Chuck likes to make jokes, and he's been a NASCAR fan. Considering he's from Alabama, I'm pretty sure he's watched the sport for a very long time. He's familiar with, there was one bit on Inside the NBA where he did a little go-kart race at the GoPro Motorplex in Charlotte with Junebug earlier this year, during the playoffs, actually. So the fact is, he's familiar with the sport. It's all fun and games with Chuck. He doesn't take any of this stuff seriously, so I personally have no problem with the guy because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't watch the NBA. Him and that particular show he's on, I wouldn't watch basketball at all because it's a horrible sport these days. And
I stopped watching him when the Lakers dominated every single championship.
Yeah, I mean, for me being a Knicks fan, it's fucking horrible, so I don't want to watch basketball for many reasons. But watching those guys talk and just basically goof on each other, it makes them more entertaining. Chuck going and goofing on Baba Booey is great, because what is Brad really going to say or do at this point? Let's add. I mean, and granted, I'm a Brad guy. Let's just add Chuck to the list of people he's pissed off. I mean, it starts with Ted Musgrave and Debbie Musgrave. It goes all the way, probably some of those furniture mover teams he drove for, his dad, his brother, and his heinous.
At least Brad didn't get arrested for DWI.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of, everyone has their issues, but in the end, it's all a joke. Long story short, it's all a joke, because in the end, I'm pretty sure that Chuck and Brad are friends and they've met each other before, so it's all in good fun.
Alright, before we go into plugs, there will be no show next week because it's Thanksgiving. We want everybody to spend some time with their families, so happy Thanksgiving, or as I like to call it, the Native American Genocide Day. So, we are proud members of the Geeks of the Industry Network. We have 9 shows, including ours. There is the flagship, Geeks of the Industry. There is Geeks on Film. There is Sleeve Notes, Mega Powers Radio, Wrestling with Smut, Pro Wrestling Nation, Carclich International, and Chatastrophe. You can find those at geeksoftheindustry.com, iTunes, Stitchers, and I think Podomatic. Not sure, but I'll check up on that. We have shirts, geeksoftheindustry.spreadshirts.com. Please buy our shirt because we really want to go to Daytona or Homestead next year. Please. We have a group page, facebook.com/groups/NASCAST500, or if you want to go to the main page, facebook.com/group/G of the I. We have a Twitter at NASCAST500. If you'd like to follow us personally, mine is at Elizabeth Moxley, but I am not safe for work. Boys?
Yeah, I mean, I would normally end this with my where people can find me and all that shit. But before I do that, I just want to say thanks to Elizabeth and Phil for having me on since Kentucky. I mean, it's been a great ride for the past 5 months doing NASCAST 500. I've got to rant on everything that pisses me off in this sport, from Jimmy Johnson destroying the sport to Kyle Busch and Brad and all the other cuppies ruining Nationwide and making it virtually unwatchable, to having good fun and making jokes about MW55 and how shitty of a dancer he is, and so many other things that we've covered in the past 5 months. I'm just glad to be a part of this group, and I just can't wait for 2015 to have a whole schedule.
I gotta say, if it wasn't for me, you would have no idea what a podcast is.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, I didn't know what the NASCAST 500 thing meant. I thought it was just some group where we post and do shit. But then when I found out it was actually a podcast, and I listened to you and Phil's first episode, I'm like, I want to get in on that. And then, what do you know? Second episode I'm in for the duration. But yeah, I just want to say thanks to Elizabeth and Phil for having me on these past 5 months, and that it was a great ride, and that I'm looking forward to more in 2015.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm going to go to what I normally do, which would be where people can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, even though I don't go on there much, YouTube, for Facebook. I have 4 accounts, but I'm mainly on one, posting about anything ranging from NASCAR to V8s to 80s shows and music, to just about anything. Whether if it's negative, positive, in the middle, whatever, www.facebook.com/AdamLesmanNotarWriter. I'm also on Twitter, but I don't go on there much because I really don't fucking care. Twitter's not really my thing, but I created an account like 4 years ago. I'm on there like once every couple weeks, month, whatever, just to check and see if I got any new followers or messages or whatever. I have like 90 followers, so if you want to follow me, go right ahead. I'm at the Desert Bandit. I'm on there. I'll probably check Twitter tonight because I haven't checked it in a while. I think the last time I checked it was when our good buddy Phil Barkley got so buttered that he had to tag it in a post and got mad because we didn't kiss his ass like Hendrick. So I'm also on YouTube, www.youtube.com/user/Southernet1988, and I post when I can. Usually it pertains to 80s shit, music, shows. I post some NASCAR stuff when I can. It depends on what it is. And that's my last plug of the season, so just end it with that.
For me, I mean, I'll follow on Adam's. This has been a really good ride. Thanks to Elizabeth. Props to a friend of mine, Tracy Miller, for mentioning you, Elizabeth, because if it wasn't for her mentioning you, I wouldn't have been able to make that link up and then have this opportunity. It's definitely made one of the probably the crappiest day of the week for me pretty fun, because at least I know I get to look forward to this. Being able to talk about the sport with like-minded people has been fun for me, and I'm looking forward to more during the off season, and definitely running it full time next year in 2015. Thanks, Elizabeth, and thanks to Adam. Definitely, I thought that I could get angry and I could go on rant and rave, but Adam, you definitely have stolen the show in that sense. I can't compete with that. I figured that I'll become, after a couple of Jimmy Johnson rants, I realized that I'll be the straight guy in this deal, and I'll let Adam just go off the rails because it's definitely good for the listeners. I'll do it occasionally, but Adam definitely brings the entertainment. I think that's that West Coast California in him, and the fact he hates Jimmy Johnson with a passion, which, I mean, the fact is I try to get over the hate of people and I strongly dislike, but I've had feelings like that before. I just never had a medium to let them go. But NASCAST 500 obviously has provided that for us. Thanks to the guys here at Geeks of the Industry Network for giving us the opportunity as well.
Even though they probably don't listen to us, we still love you, Chunky Larry, MSR, Reanimator, Bernard, Belonius Punk, Evan Hill, Anthony Visionary Thomas, Logo Cola, Sam Medina. We're family, no matter what. And even though you guys, even though some of them are not my friends, I love them. And without the Geeks of the Industry support, there would be no NASCAST. And I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I mean, hoping to talk more about other.
Oh, by the way, forgot Natalie, who's all, and Bryn. Apologize. So go ahead, continue.
Hopefully talk about more series in general. Just to talk more about during the off season. Maybe give ourselves an opportunity to extend our reach. But definitely, it's been a great ride. Watching this whole sport and being able to get on Tuesdays, just save it all up and just rant and rave and have a good time. I definitely enjoyed it. It's been something for me in my career that is something that I can latch onto because I'm sick of the way the media promotes the sport, and we're counterculture, and I like that. It's part of who I am and what I want to be and what you guys are, and I think having some time to look at what we did and what we can do in 2015 will make us even better. For me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Philip G. Matthew. Obviously now with no NASCAR, I'll be spending a lot of time on Twitter, especially on Saturday and Sunday this week because of the finale in Formula One. Go Lewis Hamilton. And I'll talk about football and any other sport and whatever comes to my mind. On Facebook, I'm at facebook.com/Philip G. Matthew. Just looking forward to this off season and building myself up, possibly building the website up so that once we come back in 15, I'll be able to support the show with writing as well.
All right. With that being said, we also don't forget we thank the fans for supporting us. Without the fans, there would be no NASCAST. And I know it sounds like a broken record, but we do appreciate your support. And I suck at doing these things. So So once again, thank you all for listening, downloading, posting our group page, trying to spread the word. So it's been a great ride. I have no idea what we're going to do. I have to think about what we're going to do for the next episode. So please, just give us some time. We'll come up with something. With that being said, for my good friends Adam and Phil, I am Elizabeth. You have a nice day.